thank you all so much for coming. This is the unveiling of our new exhibit, and it's based on 50 Years of Ninewells because this year, 2024, is Ninewells' 50th anniversary. So yeah, the project was split into 3 parts, with each of us being in charge of one of them. So I was in charge of the online exhibit.
I was part of the actual display case, which contains all the objects and the information about them.
And I managed the panel up behind.
So I guess, shall we review it now? Yeah.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. So 3, 2, 1. Whoa!
So in this display case, it's linked to the panel, which we'll speak about after, but it's just got a variety of objects that basically link to 50 years of Ninewells. There's quite a few things here, so afterwards you can come see what's in it, but we've kind of split it into a timeline, so from here to here, starting from the 1970s to present day, it's just sort of a timeline of what's happened in Ninewells over these 50 years, and it was really interesting to research all these objects, and I learned quite a lot during this project.
So I did the panel up here, so we've got a wee timeline along the bottom, which starts actually with the formation of the NHS, because Ninewells was originally proposed right after that, but classic NHS, it took about 25 years for it to actually be built. But then, since then, it's been a pretty storied history. A few things to point out, I'd say the invention of the OSCE. So we've all probably sat our OSCEs quite recently, so that's quite close to the bone. A few other things, if you're interested in surgery, Britain's first laparoscopic operation was performed here. I find it interesting looking at all the old photos. So you can see this is the concourse when it was originally built in 1974, and it's way emptier. So then the airport authority actually redesigned it in 1989 and added in all the shops that you can see today. And some of you might recognise, well, I hope all of you will recognise that room up there, which was redesigned into Gandhi Lecture Theatre. And this I found really interesting. Ninewells was a product of an international hospital conference that kind of rethought how we designed hospitals and had this whole level structure with everything spreading outwards, so you can see a few of the very preliminary designs for how Ninewells was thought to be designed. I found it quite interesting.
So I was in charge of the online exhibition, so that was just sort of having a look at all the items, putting them into an accessible sort of format online. And so basically the online exhibition is on Sway, and it similarly follows the timeline format, so you can click on each sort of era of Ninewells history and you can find out a bit more about it, and also just giving a bit more information on things we couldn't fit in the case, like so basically the development of a lot of eco-friendly and sort of more nature sort of based initiatives that happened in the 2010s. So for example, Ninewells Community Garden, I really enjoyed learning more about that, and just a lot of stuff on offer that's actually in Ninewells that I wasn't aware of. And basically that QR code will lead to that Sway. And so yeah, it's just all the information we couldn't fit on the cards in the case. So yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy having a look at our exhibition and learn something new about Ninewells, just like we did. So thank you all for your time.
What surprised you most about what you found out about the history of Ninewells?
I would say just how much Ninewells has kind of been involved with, you know, on a kind of global scale of medicine. I thought it had just been here being a hospital, which would have been fair enough. But kind of in terms of medical education, OSCE, but also spiral curriculum, it was the first place to do online medical education, or one of the first, which is kind of interesting in today's day and age. The laparoscopic stuff I said, first IVF baby in Scotland, new hospital designs. So it's just, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of spread outwards from Ninewells, which we found really interesting.
I think particularly for me, the architecture was something that was really interesting, because I kind of made me realize why level 7 is technically our ground floor, and just the sort of like there's a diagram there that shows that it was one of the first hospitals to have separated traffic, so you don't have all the supplies and all the ambulances and all the public going into the same entryway, which you can imagine clogs stuff up when you're trying to run a hospital efficiently. So that was really interesting. That was what was most fascinating for me.
Anyone else got any questions?
Questions?
Can I ask, do you want to mention a little bit about the video you did as well?
Yes. So yeah, we also, as part of the online sway, there's a lovely little video that we've made, and that has some stories from people who worked at Ninewells for a lot of this history. And so we have Dawn Weir, who's a retired ENT charge nurse, and also we interviewed Wendy Warden, who is was a nurse for around 44 years at Ninewells and currently works in the university. And they had some wonderful stories. You can hear about them talking about how things have changed from a more on-the-ground sort of point of view, because they were there for a lot of it. And yeah, we asked them a few more personal questions, like what's your fondest memory of Ninewells, and that was a really lovely part of the video. So
it was really interesting speaking to Dawn, because when she was a kid, she used to play on the field where they built Ninewells, and then she studied nursing here, and then was in kind of the first cohort to work here, and then has worked here ever since. So it's so interesting, kind of seeing how much things have changed since then. Anything else? Any other questions?
So in terms of actually doing the project and having to put together the display and the website and the panel and so on, what was the most sort of challenging part of that for you, would you say?
Probably the museum searching.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Basically, to find the objects, there's like this database that Axel Matthew showed us, and I basically had to go through different, like the whole database of objects and pick out what one was most relevant and interesting, and then from then we then had to cut down the object to see how much space there would be in the case, and then research each individual object as well based on the relevancy to Ninewells and its history and stuff. So I personally found that the most challenging, but it was quite fun to do as well. I did enjoy this SSC a lot.
I have to agree with that. Yeah, there's just so many very interesting objects, and we all came together to try and discuss what can we actually take out, because it'd be lovely to have all of them, but yeah, so we kind of tried to choose ones that were interesting and relevant to the timelines that we kind of had. So yeah.
And some of them were just huge, and they wouldn't fit in.
Yeah, because there's the one stamp that I found quite interesting, and I was like, oh yeah, that'll be nice. And then we saw it in person, and there was this huge thing, and I was like, oh, never mind. So yeah.
I've just got one question. So well done. It was really fascinating history and fascinating display. So well done on that. What do you think you've learned over the last few weeks that you will be able to use? What new skills will you be able to use in your future careers?
I mean, in terms of kind of reflection, I think just how much has changed over the last 50 years. You know, when Ninewells was made, there were no CT scanners here, and that's all happened within the last 50 years, which is a bit longer than a career, but over all of our careers, you know, we'll work for the next kind of 40 years, so who knows what will kind of change in that time. So I think just, you know, we really need to be prepared for what's going to happen, lifelong learning. We always speak about it, but it was just interesting seeing how fast change can happen, and how much you have to be kind of prepared. So I would say, yeah, a bit more of a readiness for that.
Really enforces how adaptable you need to be as a doctor throughout your career, because there's so many new technologies always being developed. Yeah, and I think also just in general, just working together as a team, just sort of emphasize sort of our team working skills, and just sort of being thrown together with some people we, we didn't know each other as much, and then just learning how we work and working together. I think that was a really fulfilling experience. Yeah.
I would just, on behalf of Alex and myself, I would like just to say how we were so impressed at how hard all of you worked on the project. It was great, and yeah, you've done a really good job. I hope everyone spends time looking at the website as well, because there's so much information and images on there. It's really, really great. So yeah, well done.
Thank you for coming.
Is our way inside?
It's such a cool building.
It's way smaller than how it is now. So the reason they've done it is so that you can expand out, whereas if you just build it up, it's quite hard to just like stack them up.